Welcome to the journey. May this space inspire you to ask questions, explore the unknown, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the Library of Awakening. Alrighty, Library of Awakening family, welcome back to another afternoon episode. In today's episode, we are going to just be diving into the latest book shared in the Private CyberX Discord in the books only section within the Library of Awakening, which is titled The Trial of the Serpent, Signs, Stars, and the number 666. This one caught my eye, numerology, and this fascination with numbers has always been a favorite of mine. So I'm going to dive into a couple of chapters and honestly just read through this until I get tired of reading for you guys in today's episode. Before we get started in reading through a couple of chapters in this particular book here, I just want to give a shout out to everybody that has shown love, support, and appreciation to the Library of Awakening YouTube over the past consecutive couple of weeks. Heading over to our analytics, it does show that over 66% of the people watching the Library of Awakening channel are not subscribed. So pause this video, do us that favor, smash that subscribe button. And if you enjoy the content that you're watching, whether it's the shorts, whether it's the videos, do us that favor and just smash that thumbs up button, as it does help boost the algorithm and push these videos out to more like-minded individuals like yourselves. But I just wanted to give a shout out to the 33% of people that are subscribed to the Library of Awakening, as we've almost reached 300 subscribers. Organically, we are trying to grow this platform. So again, I just wanted to give a shout out to you guys, as we do appreciate the love and the support. With that out of the way, I hope that you guys are enjoying your afternoon. I have no idea what I did to my freaking camera display. I messed with some settings and now I look like a pale ghost. So I do apologize. You guys are going to have to deal with that. But let's head back over to the Private CyberX Discord and let's dive into the Library of Awakening section and jump into this most recently shared book. So coming over here to the PDF of this book titled The Trial of the Serpent, Signs, Stars, and the number 666 by Muriel Vance. If we come down here to the table of contents, this is really honestly what piqued my interest. Chapter 1, The Origin and Meaning of Mystic Numbers. Very interesting with a bunch of different subtitles here. The world's oldest living religion, the cross and crucifixion, worship of the seven-headed dragon, pagan god names, and the number 666, why the number 666 applies to the beast and to man. And then it just continues on. So lots of juicy information, it looks like, in this book. I've never personally read it, so we're going to dive into this one for the very first time together. With that being said, again, as always, really do appreciate you all for returning to the platform. Again, if you're not subscribed, make sure that you all do so now. And as we progress through this read, if you guys enjoy the content, smash that thumbs up button. Let's dive into chapter 1. So, the origin and meaning of mystic numbers. And let me just zoom in so you guys can see. I don't know why I can use the highlighter tool, but not without this highlighter tool menu open. So that's unfortunate. You guys are going to have to deal with that there. Hopefully you all can see the text. It's a little bit too zoomed in. All right. The origin and meaning of mystic numbers. An understanding of the symbolism involved in sacred numbers provides a most interesting key for unlocking many of the mysteries of pagan rites and ceremonies. By the way, I just want to start off. I want everybody to understand that I'm not biased or opinionated on any of this information. I'm just here to show you guys books that exist and are readily available at your fingertips, so you choose to dive into the information on your own behalf. And so I might read a book about the number 666 and it might say some stuff that I don't really agree with. I'm just reading the information to you guys, right? Same thing when we dive into books on religion or we dive into history of Christianity or anything of that nature. It's not my personal opinion. I'm just reading books that are, again, readily available to anybody who chooses to find and do the research on these books, right? So I just needed to get that out the way. So let's continue to read. An understanding of the symbolism involved in sacred numbers provides a most interesting key for unlocking many of the mysteries of pagan rites and ceremonies. It also unlocks the mysteries of ancient, medieval, and modern secret societies, as well as the mysteries of the church. By their own admission, the church has woven the threads of heathen cults among threads having a Christian nomenclature to produce a universal or Catholic religion which embraces all religions. In introducing this subject, One should understand that there are no sacred numbers as such in the scriptures. At no time does the Bible speak of a number by itself as sacred or worthy of veneration or worship. The scriptures state that mankind should worship one God, the Creator, but they do not state that man should worship or fear or venerate one or seven or 12 or any other number. In each case where numbers are used, whether literally or symbolically, the number seems always to be used as an adjective, with the noun expressed or clearly implied. That numbers are used symbolically in the scriptures, no one can deny. The number seven, for example, became a symbol for perfection or completeness, a symbolism based upon the creation cycle of 7 days and perpetuated to this day by the weekly cycle as a measurement of time. The seven branched candlestick in the sanctuary, the seven churches of Asia, and probably also the appointment of the seven deacons were all commemorative, it would clearly appear, of the creation cycle. But there is no evidence of any veneration of a sacred seven, or the seven branched candlestick, the 7 days, the seven churches, or the seven deacons. Another number used symbolically in the scriptures is the number 12. The children of the 12 sons of Jacob were organized into 12 tribes on the march to Canaan. The organization of this wilderness church was unquestionably commemorated by Christ when he chose 12 apostles to assist him in his work, just as it is also commemorated by the city that hath 12 foundations, the New Jerusalem. But 12 as a number, we note, never has any sacredness of itself, nor did the scriptures ever speak of 12 gods. The same may be said for any other symbolic numbers used in the Bible. The numbers may suggest certain ideas in connection with God's work or his church, but at no time do we find numbers as such with any sanctity. Sacred numbers originated in Babylon. Sacred numbers are a characteristic of paganism and have their origin in Babylon, where every god had his sacred number, and the number was used frequently in place of the god's name, or even as the name itself. 4 universal languages. Before one can understand the reason for the considering of a number as sacred, one must understand the Oriental penchant for symbols. It has been said that there are 4 languages in the world: the spoken language, the written language, the sign language, and symbolical language. Of these 4, the language of symbolism is the greatest, according to symbologists, because it is universal and can be understood by those who have studied it regardless of one's native tongue or even of his ability to read and write. To a large extent, sign language really belongs in the later class. Though all peoples use symbols to express ideas, symbolism as a sacred language seems to have originated among the priests of Babylonian and Egyptian temples, from whence it spread to the remainder of the world, with the migration of the various peoples as they spread abroad on the earth. The ancient religious mysteries of Babylon, Egypt, Persia, Greece, and Rome, as well as those of the Gnostics, medieval churchmen, and modern secret societies such as Masons and Rosicrucians, for example, all have symbolism as their secret language, and all claim to be universal or Catholic. In every case, the symbols used are intended to conceal from the masses secret meanings known only to certain select initiates, secrets which cannot be revealed without peril to one's life. Man's minds are intrigued by mystery, and it is ever the purpose of the mystery societies to lead men on, ever seeking but never coming to the real knowledge of truth. Let us state right here that the sole secret of the mysteries is the identity of the God being worshipped and the meaning of the various rites, symbols, holy days, vestments, etc., used in that worship. It has ever been the aim in the mystery religions to load every symbol with as many meanings, each being complementary, as possible, and to dangle ever before the initiate the fact that further study and money will be necessary before he is in possession of the true or deeper meaning. Thus, though symbolism is said to be the universal language, the depth and breadth of the meaning of a particular symbol may not be equally comprehended by all. This is as true of number symbols as it is of pictorial symbols. One thing is certain in seeking an understanding of symbolic language, whether numbers or otherwise, the student must go back to the religious texts, art, and pictorial writings of Babylon and Egypt in order to obtain the keys. With this study, he must ever bear in mind the fact that a knowledge of the fall of man by means of the serpent, the flood, a coming savior, and final destruction of the world has ever been the common heritage of man wherever found on the earth. Threads from the biblical story distorted by ignorance and soiled by the greed of a corrupt priesthood are to be found interwoven in all pagan religion fabrics. As the sons of Noah, following the confusion of language at the Tower of Babel, spread abroad over the earth, they carried with them not only the facts of man's early history as told to them by their fathers, but they also carried forth a new principle of religion, that of attempting to placate the evil one, the cause of all their miseries and misfortunes, by sacrifice and appeasement. The principle behind the devil worship of ancient Babylon is the same as that taught by the open demon worshippers, the Yazidis of Mesopotamia today. The object of worship, they say, is not to show love for a good God who always shows love towards his subjects no matter how they regard him. It is to placate and try to secure the favor of the angry, destructive deity by offering him sacrifice, penance, and worship. This is the principle necessary to understanding of all pagan and apostate religions, as well as of the sacred numbers used as symbols in each of them. 666 is more than the title of an apostate leader. Bearing these facts in mind, we can understand the significance of pagan number symbolism, and we believe before we have finished our study, we shall understand fully why the number 666 is used by the revelator to describe the beast and the man who is his earthly representative in the apostasy. As a foundation for this understanding, we shall discuss the pagan use of sacred numbers, including the use of the number 666, and the connection of these numbers with the astrological demon worship of Babylon and of the nations which have been drinking of his contaminated fountain since the time of Babylon. We do not reject the findings of 666 in the title of the individual who fell heir to the religion of Babylon and who heads the apostasy, but we believe that the use of this number and this connection can be substantiated on grounds far stronger than in the title alone. We believe that once the evidence has been examined, all questions as to the revelator's use of this number will be favor settled in the mind of the student who would have a reason for the hope that is within him. All sacred numbers, without exception, seem to have astrological and therefore Babylonian connections. All scholarship agrees that Babylon was the home of astrology. There is far more to this subject than many believe, for though all the religious leaders of antiquity did not believe that the planets controlled the destiny of mankind, as widespread as this concept was and is, all the chief pagan gods of all nations without exception will be found to be, in their final analysis, the gods of astrology. When we find the sun god as the ruler of the zodiac pictured on ancient temples as a being with hoofs, horns, a tail, and a pitchfork, when we find the frank admission that the church during the medieval period was largely controlled by astrology, when we find the zodiac carved on the papal throne and everywhere in her art, on her staffs, church windows, and on her cathedral floors, when we find popes pictured in authorized publications seated on the zodiac, and each with his private astrologer, then we have a foundation for applying the sacred numbers of astrology to the individual who heeds the system and to the whole organization which has gathered up all the threads of ancient man's religion where to be gathered up, none being lost. There are only two religions in the world. One is the worship of God, and the other is the worship of Satan. The latter is the foundation of all pagan religions and all apostasies. Satan has ever craved worship and has succeeded in becoming the god of this world. Satan is busily laying plans for the last mighty conflict when all will take sides. Satan is working to the utmost to make himself as God and to destroy all who oppose his power. And today the world is bowing before him. His power is received as the power of God. Men cherish the attributes of the first great deceiver. They have accepted him as God and have become imbued with his spirit, not in this household and not within this guy. In his visions of things to come, the prophet John beheld this scene. This demon worship was revealed to him, and it seemed to him as if the whole world were standing on the brink of perdition. But as he looked with intense interest, he beheld the company of God's commandment keeping people, e.g., White Testimonies, Volume 6, pages 14 through 15. Demon worship disguised as nature worship and centering chiefly in the sun began in the astrological religion of ancient Babylonia and has continued unabated from that day to this throughout the entire world. It has as its basic principle the placation or appeasement of the evil deity. It is a religion of fear and represents an attempt to avoid his destructive powers by becoming his servants. The cosmic or universal religions of the world combined the worship of God with the worship of Satan, a combination which Christ declared as impossible in Matthew chapter 6, verse 24. So I'm going to pause there for today's video breakdown. As always, many blessings to you guys. Remember, we're uploading video breakdowns every single day, whether it's shorts, reading snippets of books from my personal library, or reading snippets from books that are within inside the CyberX Discord in the Library of Awakening section. And we're also uploading video reads. So make sure that you guys are subscribed to getting fresh content every single day. Be cognizant, be aware out there. And if anybody wants access to our vast storehouse of books and knowledge and information, you guys can always head over to cyberxtrading.com. Literally thousands upon thousands of books shared with inside of the private CyberX Discord. Some books that you probably couldn't even get physical copies of anymore because they're so old are with inside the private CyberX Discord. You guys can head over to cyberxtrading.com. We'd love to have you on the team. As always, be cognizant, be aware out there, and I'll see you all in the next video breakdown. I know some of the perspectives that I share may be as challenging for you as they once were for me. But isn't that the beauty of exploration? Every perspective, no matter how unconventional, has something valuable to contribute to it if it's shared. Knowledge is not absolute. It's a living, breathing phenomena, shaped and reshaped over time. The important thing is not always be right, but to always be curious. Explore freely, share boldly, and learn deeply. And don't rely solely on others to validate your discoveries. Stand firm in integrity, even in the face of criticism. Remember that growth always means embracing the humility to admit when we're wrong. Learning from our errors is not a setback, it's the very essence of our progress. So, welcome to the journey. May this space inspire you to ask questions, explore the unknown, and most importantly, to awaken. This is the Library of Awakening.